What if the feeling you call love isn't the cure to human suffering, but its most seductive trap? What if the warmth you chase is the same flame that burns you, shapes you, and quietly devours you? You think love frees you. You think it elevates you. You think it softens life's brutality. But listen closely. Behind every heartbeat, there is a hunger you did not choose. Behind every longing, a force you cannot see. Behind every attraction, a command older than thought. And for the first time, you dare to suspect it. You weren't the one who fell in love. Something inside you decided for you. The desires you worship, the people you chase, the fantasies you drown in. They move with a precision that doesn't feel accidental, as if your heart is following a script written long before you were born. As if emotions are not choices, but instincts wearing the clothes of destiny. This is where Schopenhauer begins. Love isn't romantic. Love isn't gentle. Love is the strategy of the will, the blind, relentless force that uses your emotions to achieve its own ends. You think you're searching for connection. You're not. You're acting out a biological imperative disguised as devotion. And once you see this, the ground beneath every affection begins to shake. Because the moment you realize love isn't liberation but compulsion, the world shifts. The stories collapse. The illusions crack. And something inside you whispers, if this is true, then I was never in control. And for a moment, the world feels quiet. But that quiet doesn't bring peace. It brings truth. And truth is where the descent begins. Napoleon Bonaparte, one of history's sharpest strategists, the man who reshaped Europe, was undone, not by armies, but by obsession. Josephine wasn't the perfect partner, not loyal, not consistent, not invested the way he was, but she activated something in him he couldn't resist. The will. Napoleon, who commanded thousands, couldn't command his own desire. He wrote letters from the battlefield drenched in longing, pleading for affection while conquering nations. When she ignored him, he collapsed inward. When she betrayed him, he forgave instantly. When she withdrew, he chased harder. The world saw an emperor. Josephine saw a man enslaved by emotion. His generals feared losing wars. Napoleon feared losing her. This is the dark logic. When love grips you, even the strongest feel powerless. Eventually, Napoleon realized Josephine couldn't give him the air he needed. Logic demanded divorce. Duty demanded it. History demanded it. But the will resisted fiercely. He cried uncontrollably during the separation ceremony. The same man who felt nothing ordering men to their deaths. Josephine died years later. Napoleon kept her portrait until his final breath. And for a moment, the world feels quiet. Napoleon didn't lose because he loved. He lost because he believed love was a choice. He never understood Schopenhauer's truth. Desire chooses you, and it chooses without mercy. This story is not about Napoleon. It is about you. About every moment you sacrificed your strength for someone who didn't deserve it. This is the price of the will. This is the curse of love. Schopenhauer argued something almost unforgivable. You are not the architect of your desires. You are their servant. There is a deeper power, a blind, ancient force he called the will to life, that governs everything you crave. The will doesn't care about your happiness. It doesn't care about your mental health, your ambitions, your dignity. It cares only about survival, not yours, but its own endless continuation. And love is its finest instrument. You think attraction is personal. You think longing is emotional. You think chemistry is spiritual. But the will has already decided which faces captivate you, which voices soften you, which people you can't forget. It chooses quickly, silently, ruthlessly. You only rationalize the decisions it has already made. Every man takes the limits of his own field of vision for the limits of the world. And so you assume your longing is meaningful when it's merely functional. Here's the dark logic. Love isn't designed to make you whole. It's designed to keep you in motion, chasing, fearing, attaching, losing, suffering, repeating. Because motion keeps the will alive. Desire is the leash. Attachment is the cage. Heartbreak is the punishment for resisting. And for a moment, the world feels quiet. This is why the person you choose often defies reason. Why the ones you want most are the ones who can hurt you deeply. Why your logic collapses when your emotions rise. The will doesn't care about your plan. It cares about its own. And the moment you accept that your emotions are not expressions of freedom, but expressions of biological necessity, that's when you begin to understand the dark architecture of love. And that's where the cracks appear. There is a cruel contradiction inside every human. You long for connection, yet connection exposes your deepest vulnerabilities. You want to choose love, yet love takes away your ability to choose. You want to feel alive, yet the emotions that awaken you are the same emotions that control you. This is the paradox Schopenhauer called the essence of human suffering. Love promises elevation, but it often delivers submission. Think of the times you loved someone in a way that made you forget yourself, the messages you waited for, the compromises you made, the boundaries you erased, the dignity you traded for attention. You didn't willingly surrender. You were moved. Love governs you with urgency, jealousy, fear, longing, insecurity, hope, despair. It holds you hostage with both pleasure and pain. It keeps you invested with illusions of meaning. It punishes you the moment you attempt to detach. This is the will's brilliance. It gives you just enough sweetness to keep you loyal, and just enough suffering to keep you obedient. And for a moment, the world feels quiet. But reflect for a second. Why is unreturned love so devastating? Why is betrayal so earth-shattering? Why do we idolize people who damage us? It's not stupidity. It's not weakness. It's biology, weaponized through emotion. Because when the will wants something from you, it doesn't ask. It overwhelms. You take the pain personally. But the pain isn't personal. It's structural. It is built into the design of existence. This is where the contradiction tightens. The more you seek fulfillment through love, the more power you give the force that uses love to dominate you. And that's where the trap reveals itself. Modern society sells you the illusion of choice. Pick your partner. Pick your standards. Pick your type. Swipe. Match. Decide. Freedom, right? Not quite. Technology multiplies options but doesn't liberate you from biology. Your instincts still determine who you desire. Your subconscious still decides who seems attractive before your mind forms a single thought. You scroll through hundreds of faces, believing you're choosing. But the will has already predetermined the ones that will pull you in. You think, she's my type. He feels familiar. I just know. You don't know. You obey. And for a moment, the world feels quiet. Modern love is packaged as empowerment, high-value attraction, soulmates, manifestation, compatibility. But beneath the vocabulary lies the same ancient machinery. You're not choosing connection. You're reacting to stimulus. You're following chemical patterns. You're chasing emotions that chase you back into captivity. Social media intensifies this by feeding your envy, your insecurity, your comparison instinct. It conditions you to equate desire with worth. It distorts romance into performance. And when love fails, you blame yourself. But the failure wasn't yours. It was built into the design. Because modernity changed the world, but it didn't change the will. You still suffer. You still chase. You still break. You still repeat. That's where the illusion deepens. Awareness is the turning point. The moment everything becomes too clear, you start noticing patterns in your own heart. Why do you desire people who don't love you back? Why do you sabotage your peace for relationships that drain you? Why does longing feel like meaning? Why does attachment feel like identity? And then the truth hits. Because desire is not logical. It is not noble. It is not spiritual. It is the will, operating beneath consciousness, using your heart as its battlefield. Once you see this, something breaks. You can't unsee it. You realize your strongest emotions were not expressions of your deepest self, but expressions of the force that controls your deepest self. This is the midpoint collapse. The moment you stop believing the old stories, love completes you. Follow your heart. Your feelings know the way. No. Your feelings know only the will. And for a moment, the world feels quiet. This quiet hurts. Because clarity destroys comfort. You begin to question your past loves, your heartbreaks, your obsessions. Were they ever truly yours? Or were you simply acting out an ancient compulsion repeating itself through you? This is where vulnerability peaks, where reality feels heavy, where the world loses its romantic glow and becomes painfully honest. But this collapse is necessary. This is the doorway. This is the descent into truth. And that's where transformation begins. Here is the truth most people spend their lives avoiding. Love contains the seed of suffering inside it. Desire carries the blueprint of despair. Every attachment carries the possibility of loss. The will doesn't promise happiness. It promises movement. From longing to fulfillment. From fulfillment to boredom. From boredom back to longing. A cycle without mercy. Life swings like a pendulum, backward and forward, between pain and boredom. Love is the mechanism that keeps the pendulum moving. Think of the structure. You crave someone. You suffer. You win them. You fear losing them. You lose them. You suffer again. You find someone new. The cycle resets. This isn't personal failure. It's the architecture of existence. The will ensures that even the sweetest moments contain anxiety, insecurity, dependency, and fear. That's why no relationship ever feels truly safe. Why even happy couples worry. Why even the loved feel incomplete. Because the will doesn't want peace. Peace breaks the cycle. And for a moment, the world feels quiet. This is where despair reaches its peak. You see that desire cannot be satisfied, that affection cannot be permanent, that happiness cannot be secured by another person. The tragedy is universal. You suffer, chasing what you believe will end your suffering. But understanding this is not the end. It is the beginning of something else. Something Schopenhauer believed was the only true form of freedom. Clarity changes everything. When you understand the mechanics of desire, the illusion breaks. The emotional storms lose their power. The impulses stop feeling like commands. The longing stops feeling like destiny. You begin to watch your emotions the way you watch weather. They rise. They change. They pass. But they no longer define your identity. You feel attraction without surrendering your autonomy. You feel longing without abandoning logic. You feel affection without handing over your self-respect. This is Schopenhauer's reversal. The moment awareness becomes resistance. And for a moment, the world feels quiet. Not the painful quiet of collapse, but the clear quiet of detachment. You realize that desire is not evil. It is simply automatic. And automatic things lose their power once you see them operate. The will still moves within you, but you aren't controlled by it. You can love, but not worship. You can desire, but not dissolve. You can attach, but not lose yourself. This is the beginning of true power. People think detachment means apathy. Schopenhauer meant something else entirely. Detachment is the ability to feel without being owned, to desire without collapsing into dependency, to love without abandoning your identity, to connect without confusing someone else's presence for purpose. When you understand the will, you stop being predictable. You stop chasing people who give you crumbs. You stop mistaking emotional chaos for passion. You stop destroying yourself for affection. Because now you see the game. And once you see it, you stop playing blindly. And for a moment, the world feels quiet. This is where inner power emerges. You don't beg. You don't obsess. You don't panic. You don't cling. Your nervous system stops being hijacked by desire. You become emotionally sovereign. And suddenly, connection feels lighter. Love feels calmer. Life feels more spacious. Because the will may still move you, but it no longer manipulates you. This is the strength Napoleon never found. This is the autonomy Josephine stole from him. And this is the clarity that frees you. Schopenhauer believed solitude wasn't loneliness. It was truth. Because when you are alone, nothing manipulates you. No instinct, no longing, no comparison, no illusion. You return to the only part of you the will cannot consume, your awareness. A man can be himself only so long as he is alone. This wasn't a romantic line. It was a survival strategy. Solitude recalibrates you. It strips away the noise of desire. It teaches you to sit with your own mind without reaching for another heartbeat to complete you. And for a moment, the world feels quiet. In this quiet, you see your past clearly. The loves that blinded you, the attachments that shrank you, the fantasies that drained you. But instead of shame, you feel compassion. Because now you understand the mechanics behind the suffering. You see that every heartbreak was a lesson in disguise. Every obsession was the will revealing its tactics. And you realize you're stronger now because you can finally recognize where you end and where the will begins. This is the return. This is the recovery. This is the self-reclaimed. Freedom in Schopenhauer's world isn't triumph. It isn't happiness. It isn't getting everything you desire. Freedom is clarity, the ability to see the illusion without kneeling to it. You still feel desire, but it doesn't drown you. You still love, but it doesn't consume you. You still grieve, but it doesn't break you. Your emotions become visitors, not dictators. Your relationships become choices, not compulsions. Your heart becomes an instrument, not a battlefield. And for a moment, the world feels quiet. This quiet is the beginning of inner liberation. You no longer chase people who ruin your peace. You no longer betray yourself for affection. You no longer confuse intensity for destiny. You finally understand the will's game. And because you understand it, you transcend it. Love is still possible, but now it is clean. Now it is conscious. Now it is free. This is the closest any human can come to liberation. Return to the beginning. Remember the question, what if love isn't salvation, but domination? Now the paradox resolves. Love is the will's illusion, but recognizing the illusion gives you power over it. You're no longer a puppet of desire. You're no longer moved blindly. You're no longer enslaved by longing. You see the architecture. You see the purpose. You see the mechanism. But most importantly, you see yourself outside it. And for a moment, the world feels quiet. Not empty, not cold, not hopeless. Quiet because the chains have stopped rattling. Quiet because the illusions have stopped whispering. Quiet because awareness has taken the place of instinct. You are no longer the hunger. You are the witness of it. You are no longer the obsession. You are the clarity beneath it. You are no longer the will. You are the consciousness observing the will. And that is the highest form of freedom a human can know. Because once you see the illusion clearly, it can never own you again.